Welcome to Our Weird World. I'm your host, John Henson, and we are in the countdown now within the final 10 episodes before we hit 200. Oh man, the 2024 is going to really start off with a bang on this show. Because I think if I'm correct, if I remember correctly, episode 200, early January, maybe mid-January. So it's coming. It's coming fast. So it's almost Thanksgiving time, and geez, this year has just flown by. It's weird. Like, I'm in that weird phase of life. We're gonna just not talk about the stories right now. I'm in that weird phase of life where, like, every day is such a grind and it just drags on. But then, like, at the same time, you just like, it's like, oh my God, it's already November. And it doesn't make sense. Time's crazy like that. Time is a flat circle, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, what are we talking about today? We're talking about some fails, some epic fails. Just some people who thought they were going to do something clever, thought they were going to show somebody, and it did not work out at all. So we are looking at the stories of Operation Red Dog, Louis Dethy, and our first story will be of Billy Meier. Story time. Billy Meier, Billy. I don't know why I'm doing that all of a sudden. Billy Meier was born on February 3rd, 1937 in Bulak, Switzerland. After joining the French Legion during his teenage years, he then returned home where he was subsequently hit by a bus. It's a great life. The accident actually forced doctors to amputate his left arm, but that's really not, it has really nothing to do with the overall story. It's just crazy detail in this guy's life. Starting in 1942, at the age of 5, Billy began having encounters, allegedly, with extraterrestrial beings. It started when he met Sfath, S-F-A-T-H, Sfath. What a name. This being was a Plejaren man, which the Plejarians are a race of aliens from the planet Era in the Pleiades, which is a totally real planet. You guys, I swear to God, it's not. When Sfath died in 1953, Billy then began conversing with an alien woman named Asket, and he talked with Asket for 11 years before she then mysteriously disappeared. Finally, on January 28th, 1975, Billy met Simjase, who just so happened to be Sfath's granddaughter. And after Simjase introduced Billy to 2 other Plejaren women, Ptah and Nira, Billy formed a religious movement called the I'm Not Even Gonna Try to... Now, you know what? Let's try it. It's just like my brain is breaking just looking at this. It is a smorgasbord of words that somehow people in Germany and Austria can understand. His new religion was called Freie Interessengemeinschaft für Grenz und Geisteswissenschaften und Ufologiestudien. I actually feel pretty good about that. That was a pretty great translation or pronunciation. That's the word I'm looking for. I nailed that. All right, I'm going to do it again because I know you missed it. All right. Billy Meier's new religious movement, after he's been chatting with these alleged alien women, was called the Freie Interessengemeinschaft für Grenz und Geisteswissenschaften und Ufologiestudien. Get you some, right? I guess I'm German. I do have some German heritage, so I'm just channeling that right now. In addition to his new church that he created, Billy produced several photographs and films that he claimed showed the Plagiarin spacecraft, which he called beam ships, flying around the Swiss countryside. This is in Switzerland, not Austria. Still, they probably speak German. However, scientists and ufologists, they got a hold of these pictures and films, and they immediately called them frauds because they were. Even more, Billy's ex-wife, Calliope, told journalists that the photos of the spaceships were just trash can lids and pieces of carpet. Additionally, Billy's photos that he claimed were of Ascot and Nera were just photos of Michelle Delafave and Susan Lund, who were members of the Gold Diggers performing on the Dean Martin show. So this dude, like immediately after that, like he disappears from history. But just this dude was like, yeah, I've been talking to these aliens. And I have pictures and video to prove it. And then immediately everyone's like, no, it's not, dude. This is clearly what that is. And so like, he's not even, that's why I didn't even put him in some of the alien episodes in October, because it's just not even close. Not even close to anything legitimate. This dude faked it and it blew up right in his face. All right. Our second story here begins in 1979 when the Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke, introduced fellow Klansman Mike Perdue to fellow racist Wolfgang Dredge, who was a German-Canadian neo-Nazi who had plans to take over the entire world, because that's what they do. Perdue was excited about this new partnership because he wasn't content with simply burning crosses and lynching black people. Like, he really wanted something bigger, right? Like, get rid of all the Jews and the black people and burn all the crosses, which is weird. Like, here's the one thing I've never understood about the Ku Klux Klan, right? Like, to me, I've always felt like burning the cross was akin to burning the American flag, right? Like, it's this revered symbol, and to burn it is to essentially disrespect and desecrate it. But yet, you know, the Ku Klux Klan, which I can guarantee you are typically full of like MAGA type Proud Boys, they're totally fine burning crosses. I don't know. I've never understood that. There's a lot of inconsistency in racism and bigotry. And I think that's why no one respects those people, aside from being stupid. But yeah, just not a coherent, consistent ideology across the board. But that summer in 1979, Mike Perdue began forming this plan to overthrow the tiny island nation of Dominica and set up a puppet government that would allow the Klansmen to move in and open all kinds of businesses. Because, like, here's the thing, guys, like, you can still have the entrepreneurial spirit even if you're a complete pile of trash, right? And honestly, I kind of like this plan. Like, it sucks for the people in Dominica, right? Because they're going to be driven out of their homes, all right? But it also meant that the KKK would have just had their own island to themselves, and we could have ignored them. And they could have just existed and been racist pieces of trash out on their little island on their own. And look, if we got to sacrifice a group of people for that and push them out of homes, maybe that's something that we should consider. Let's bring the people of Dominica to America. All right. Give them the homes. Just make a straight trade, right? Let them move into the trailers and ramshackle shacks in the swamps and backwoods where the KKK people lived. All right. It's probably a pretty even trade, if I'm being honest. And, you can subsidize these new immigrants, get them up and running, get them jobs, and let them live in America. And then we just send the KKK to an island and everybody's happy, right? Because the KKK can be racist all they want on their little island. They don't have anybody to antagonize, but maybe that's fine with them. They can be this inbred, racially pure society. And then we don't have to worry about them anymore. And then we fix racism. We don't, but it makes it a lot better. Makes it a lot better if just the KKK, well, now MAGA Proud Boy people are just on an island. So in theory, this isn't the worst idea. All right. But a lot of people had some issues with it. They also, as part of their plan, weirdly enough, the KKK was planning to help recently ousted Dominican Prime Minister Patrick John, who was black, by the way, return to power after being forced to resign. Wolfgang Dreg, who was the German neo-Nazi guy, he was chosen to secure funds and resources, i.e. weapons, for this coup in Dominica. He quickly found help from South Africa, who was entrenched in apartheid at this point and was more than happy to help white people in other parts of the world screw over as many black people as possible. Additionally, Klansmen Arnie Poley and Roger Dermy were paid $3,000 each to travel to Dominica to conduct some preliminary reconnaissance, which likely just consisted of confirmation that there were a lot of black people there and a government to overthrow. So in 1981, the group of Klansmen, they set this plan in motion. They arrive in New Orleans to board a ship to Dominica and go do their coup. The boat's captain, however, immediately realizing that there was just a bunch of white supremacists bound for a pretty much 100% black nation, was definitely not a good sign. He knew something was up, and he immediately refused to charter this boat. But to their credit, not to give up easily, Purdue then approached Michael S. Howell, a Vietnam War veteran and boat captain, and told this guy that he was part of the CIA and that the CIA needed his boat for an undercover operation. Howell, he was a little suspicious about this, right? Because why would the CIA hate black people? Maybe. No, it was the FBI that hated black people. If you look at the 1960s, that's kind of a conspiracy, but not really. But Howell, he's like, why does the CIA want to go overthrow this random nation, not realizing that they were already overthrowing governments all over Latin America at this point. But regardless, Howell's, really suspicious. He calls the ATF, who then, for some reason, goes and arrests former Prime Minister Patrick John in Dominica. Patrick John, when the ATF or the CIA or whoever is like, yo, dog, what are you doing? Patrick John tells them all about the KKK's plan to invade the island. Now, at this point, any logical, sane person, regardless of what their true intentions were, would back down from this and give up. Or, at the very least, lay low and come up with a new plan. Find a different island to overthrow something, all right? But when your official uniform is essentially a full-sized dunce hat. Remember the dunce caps that they put on kids back in the day, little triangle? You get it. That sort of option doesn't exist, right? You don't reconsider, you don't come up with a plan B. You're full on with your original plan because you think it's the best idea ever. And so Purdue insisted, even though Patrick John is under arrest and the entire island knows what's about to happen and the CIA knows what's about to happen, Purdue insisted that the Klan still just invade this island anyway. And so on April 27th, a group of 9 Klansmen, they only have 9 people, boarded a van and drove down to the marina in New Orleans to get their boat, When they arrived, the ATF greeted them and arrested all of them, except for 3 Klansmen who were actually undercover ATF agents that had been with them the entire time. It's so funny. Yeah, because after Howell had initially informed the ATF or reached out to the CIA or whoever, the ATF literally planted Klansmen in this group and they just knew everything the entire time, and so this blew up and the media got a hold of it. They referred to the event as the Bayou of the Pigs. That's clever. And the 6 arrested Klan members were sentenced to 3 years in prison for conspiring to invade a foreign country. So clearly never worked out for them. Our final story today is of Louis Dethy, maybe Louis Dethy. I don't know. We'll say Louis. He was just a good-natured family man, worked as an engineer, lived in the village of Pont-de-Loup in Belgium. He lived with his wife and 14 kids in what was really like a really pretty house in a quiet neighborhood in Pont-de-Loup. Dethy was a devout Catholic, as if the 14 kids didn't give that away. And he hung a crucifix on each wall of the house because, I don't know, Catholics, I guess. But then everything just got shot all to hell. Like, his life went real south real fast. It started when he cheated on his wife, so he kind of brought it on himself, who then subsequently divorced him and took all of the kids with her, which what's that decision like, right? Like, you now all of a sudden just have a litter of children, just one parent, single parent to 14 kids is nuts, but she did it. For the next 20 years, Dethy just kind of stewed in his own bitterness, right? Like, he watches his kids grow up. They live with their mother. They know what happened. And so, like, there's probably a lot of resentment toward him. For some reason, like, he hated his wife for divorcing him, right? Because, and look, it's Catholics. You don't get divorced when you're Catholic, which that you can. That's stupid. But he hated his 14 kids and his 37 grandchildren because no one wanted anything to do with him. They didn't want to see him, didn't want to visit him. And he intended to just spend the rest of his life inside the home that his mother had bought for him after the divorce and just hate the world. But then after an argument with his mother, the mother decided that Dethy was a pile of trash, and the mother ended up bequeathing the property to one of Dethy's daughters. So now not only does his wife and his kids and his grandkids hate him, but now his mom hates him too because he's just a whiny little turd. And so rather than move out of this house, Dethy basically began home aloneing this entire house with this series of deadly booby traps. If Home Alone was like an NC-17 movie where was it Joe Pesci? Yes, Joe Pesci and the other guy, I'd never remember his name, were like legitimately going to get severely maimed and ultimately killed for trying to invade Kevin McAllister's house. He would basically, what Dethy did was he attached several shotguns to nearly invisible pieces of nylon string in hopes that the next owner would like open a cabinet or do something and get their face blown off while they're moving in. So he started by rigging a shotgun to a case of beer, which was designed to go off whenever a certain number of bottles had been removed. He then placed another shotgun inside a chest of money that was rigged to fire as soon as someone opened it. He put a shotgun inside the television, put one in a water tank, and then he put one behind the bathroom door. And in order to keep track of all of his booby traps, he scribbled riddles on a piece of paper to help him remember where each trap was so that he did not inadvertently shoot himself. Well, guess what happened? Irony, justice. Dethy accidentally shot himself in 2002 with a shotgun, obviously, as he fiddled with a trap inside of a china cabinet. When detectives showed up finally, like they found his body, they started trying to search for clues as to what happened. One poor investigator was nearly blown to bits when he opened a wooden chest that triggered a trap and sent a round of buckshot inches past his face. Police quickly realized that they were not equipped to handle this, and they called in a military mine clearance team who went through the house and discovered clues for 20 different death traps. And it took this team 3 weeks to interpret Dethy's riddles and disarm 19 of the 20 traps. They were never actually able to find the 20th trap, so they just kind of gave up. And, this probably explains why the Belgian military doesn't have a reputation for being a prominent source or reliable source in war. But also maybe the 20th trap was the one that Dethy triggered himself. Who knows? But I love the justice that comes at the end of that story. All right, funny fails in the books. And as a reminder, if you want to read these books that I keep referencing, go to johnhensonwrites.com and click the books tab up at the top, and you can see all of the things that I've written and find out how to purchase them because they're not free. Just, because that's how it goes, right? Nothing's free anymore. Here we go. What did we learn? I don't know. I went brain dead for a second there. What did we learn today?
What did we learn?
Number 1, Billy Meier did not ever talk to aliens ever. He was an insane person. Probably had I would say it had something to do with him getting hit by a bus, but he was claiming to talk to aliens since he was 5 years old. So, you can search for Billy Meier's alien pictures, but it's very obvious that they're not aliens. Number 2, the KKK legitimately tried to invade a Caribbean island, and the ATF blocked it and literally infiltrated it and caught them in the act, and it never ended up happening, which kind of unfortunate because I would love if the KKK just lived on their own island and just weren't bothering anybody, just being racist on their own. Number 3, Louis Dethy got real mad at his family, rigged a house full of booby traps, and then killed himself with his own booby traps because he's a silly goose. Next week on Our Weird World, we are doing another serial killer sampler, the 7th edition. 3 stories, as always, looking at the stories of John Edward Robinson, Charles Sabrage, and Peter Sutcliffe. So a trio of some more notable serial killers from history coming next week. That's going to do it for today. Thank you all for continuing to listen. Keep telling all your friends and keep it weird. I love Fisher and Price. 804-335-0051. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face. 804-335-0051. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face. Shorty just text me. Says she wanna sex me. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face. Shorty sent a twit pic saying come and get this. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face. Shorty called my phone. I was busy cruising in that Benz round the city. Then I felt my phone buzz. I know that she liked thugs. I'm a bad boy like Diddy. Then she sent the text that read, "Baby, I'm at home." Then she sent another one that says she's all alone. So I text her a smiley face and said, "Let's do the groan." She said, "LOL, boy, you crazy. Come on." Then she said, "Actually, you ain't gotta ax me. Sent that little face with the tongue 'cause I'm nasty. I'm on my way, girl. I can't wait. Twitter me a picture. Let me see that. Okay." See, now my shorty texts me, "Sent your boy a smiley face. Gucci Mane X rated. We could make a sex tape. Pics on my iPhone, Gucci on her iPod. When she turn around, ass make you say, 'Oh God.' Mommy real beautiful, manicured cuticles, office job student girl holding down her cubicle. And she got my number, tell her man that's like a miracle. Said she like my swag, but love sixes on my vehicle. GA to VA, Cali girls love me. Brooklyn girls hug me. Mommy girls sexy. Pull up in the stretchy, jump out flexin'. First date sexin', night night textin'. She messaged me on MySpace, told me she loved me. She texted my phone 4:30 in the morning. "Baby, I'm horny. I want to kiss you. I can put it on you. That's not an issue." She scratching my back, screaming out I'm hers. She texts my phone, said, "I need your love." I met her Monday last week in the club. 1 week later, now she telling me that she in love. She sending picture messages, getting so affectionate. Content sexual, she like to call textual. So I get the coop clean, she my little boo thing. When I arrive, we get live like Ustream. And we gon' get it on until I get her off. And when she get up on, it's so hard to get her off. As soon as I be gone, she back up on my phone. 804-335-0051. Shorty just text me, says she want to sex me. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face. Go to my page and follow. And if you got a body like a Coke bottle, Shorty send a twit pic saying come and get this. LOL smiley face. LOL smiley face.